everybody. Welcome to the Knitting and Anxiety podcast. My name is Allison Barnes, and I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, with my husband, my son, and my 3 cats, Wicket, Cricket, and Kennedy. Today is Wednesday, September 12th, 2018, and it's been over a month since my last podcast, so I have quite a bit to share on the knitting front. And towards the end of the podcast, I will share a little bit of shop news and some real life. So thanks for checking out my podcast if this is your first time. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back. I appreciate your support and all of your likes and comments, so please keep them coming. It helps more than you know. So my name is Allison Barnes, and I am an indie dyer, and I like to knit and crochet and spin. I haven't tried weaving yet, and I haven't done any felting either. This is harder than I thought it would be. I've been avoiding podcasting because of just time and energy level, and of course my son was home because it was summertime, but it is now September and he's back in school, so I really wanted to get another video out to you guys and give you an update on how things have been going for me. I came clean about my anxiety and depression in my last episode, and that is the reason why the podcast has changed names. So I am feeling a little bit anxious doing this right now, but I will get more into my personal life details at the end of the episode, so that if you're not interested in hearing about that, you don't have to watch. So we'll get started with some knitting, and I don't have anything gathered around me, and I'm just going to wing it because that's how I'm feeling today. So I'll go and gather my things. I decided to remove the blanket that was behind me and close the curtains, but the cats are trying to open them again. It's overcast and rainy and very cold outside. It's only 3 degrees Celsius, and it's actually snowing in parts of Alberta today. It's snowing in Barrhead, it's snowing in Grand Prairie, and I'm not sure where else, but it's not snowing here yet. But it is supposed to start snowing tonight. So yes, it's September 12th, and it is technically still summer, and we're getting snow. So knit fast and stay warm, my friends, because winter is coming. So I have some finished objects to show this episode. The first one I want to show you is a baby knit, and this is called the Warm Heart Baby Vest, and it is from a book that I got at the library. This is the, can I get it to show? No. It's One Skein Wonders for Babies. Maybe if I turn the brightness down on my phone, it'll work. Let me try that. One Skein Wonders for Babies. You can kind of see it. Sorry guys, it's really hard to see. So the pattern is called the Warm Heart Baby Vest, and I did find, I did a search on Ravelry and I found it, and it said the pattern was only available in that book. And that book happened to be at my local public library, which was amazing. So I took it out and I knit. It's just a one size, I think it was 6 to 12 months or 12 to 24 months. It's about 12 month size. And I used some hand spun yarn that I spun myself as this, sorry, the cats are fighting. I used this hand spun yarn. I got the combed top, the BFL combed top from Andrea's Handspuns, and I did a 2-ply, and it turned out to be about a DK weight. So when I was looking for patterns, I was looking for DK patterns, and I found this one, and it just has this dot stitch, which was really simple but adds a beautiful texture. And I didn't have enough yarn to finish the garment in the handspun yarn, so I found some leftover, I think it's merino wool, that was just hanging out in my stash for the sleeve trim and the trim that goes around the front of the bodice of this vest. And it's closed with 2 buttons, so that when you put it on baby, you just basically wrap them in it and then close it with buttons. So it just opens up, and then you wrap it around and close it with the buttons. It's just plain in the back, and this is for my friend Ashley, who is expecting a baby later this fall. So this will be the first time she's seeing it, so you're welcome, Ashley. You'll be getting this pretty soon for baby. The next finished object I have is a hat, and I can't remember if I showed this to you on the last episode, but I had dyed some yarn called Fireweed, which is a mainly all over tonal green with a small speckled purple section in it, and it was inspired by my trip to Grand Prairie and then down to Jasper when my husband and I went on a little road trip for our anniversary this year, and I was seeing fireweed growing all over the sides of the highways. So I dyed this color, and I wanted to show what it looked like knit up, and it turned out basically exactly how I wanted it to. So this is a hat that I did in worsted weight. It's just a simple stockinette cap, using, like I said, worsted weight, and I used 4mm needles for the brim. I cast on 88 stitches. I did a 2x2 rib for, I don't know, an inch. And then I switched to 4.5mm needles for the main body of the hat. And I just knit till about 6.5 inches, I think, because I didn't want a super slouchy hat. And then I did some decreases, and I just kind of made it up as I went. So it's not particularly even, but it worked out. And it fits kind of loose, and I can wear it kind of slouchy, I guess, if I wanted to, which I sometimes do, because now that I have short hair, I like to make sure my bangs peek out a little bit so I don't look too much like a boy when I wear hats. And I had my son try it on, and it was just like a tiny bit too big for him, so I ended up knitting him a hat using 4mm needles for the entire brim and body of the hat, which is my third finished object. This hat, and it's in one of my brand new colorways, which I will talk about a little bit here, but I'll be talking about it more later. So he really liked this color when I was doing photographs for the shop, and it's like a dark gold. And so basically I cast on 88 stitches, did a 2x2 rib, and I used the same 4mm needle for the brim and for the body of the hat, so it gives it a tighter stitch, so there is not as much air will pass through, and it fits a little more snugly. And I did do the brim just a little bit longer than the green one. I'll try it on for you. So it is tighter, and it won't slouch as much, and it fits him well, if it's me too, but it looks really nice on him, so I'm hoping to get some pictures of him wearing it. He has really long hair, like really long hair. And I will tell you the name of this color. It is called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And it's part of my new fall line, which is called the Struggle and Strength line. So is that upside down? Yeah. It's okay to not be okay. See, it's backwards for me in the camera, but I know you guys see it straight. Yeah, so that's how my new fall line knits up in worsted weight. And I really, really like this. And I've been getting a lot of positive response from you guys, so I thank you dearly for that. So I have a half object to show you now. In my Sew Shannon bag, which you can order from her through Instagram. I think it's Sew Shannon YYC on Instagram. And I have a finished Rose City roller sock. This was knit from a sock blank from Ginger Snap That. The sock blank is dyed by Colin, he has his own Instagram now called Mr. Snap That. This is the sock blank. I purchased it at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic in 2017. That was last year's market. And I have the second sock started. And I just finished the gusset decreases. And I'm using my 9mm Chiagu needles. They're size 2.25mm. And I cast on 64 stitches, and I'm basically just following the pattern of the Rose City Rollers, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. And and I think I figured out how to get my socks to fit well. So I've really tightened up my tension when I'm holding the yarn, because I knit my socks continental, so I wrap the yarn around my pinky and then over my finger when I'm knitting, and that helps me to tension the yarn much better. And that's the only thing I've changed for knitting my socks, because the last pair I knit were really loose, really too big. But this sock seems to fit really well, so I'm hoping that the second sock fits just as well, and that I was able to maintain my tension. And what did I do differently for this sock? So I actually tried the sock on, and when the foot got to, like, pretend this is my foot and this is my pinky toe, when the foot of the sock reached the bottom of my pinky toe, that's when I started my toe decreases instead of going by my foot measurement, because I don't know, I just, the cats are making noise. I have one foot a little bigger than the other foot, so I don't know. But it worked this time, so I'll probably do that for this one. But which foot I tried it on, I don't remember. But yeah, so I want to get this finished because I want to try regular length socks, tensioning my yarn tight, and using some fun yarn in my stash. Like a self-striping, or something that I've been really wanting to use but have been scared to use because of my fit issues. So I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, these socks are good for me, and then I can start making all the socks with a good fit. Okay, so that's it for finished objects and half objects. Oh, kind of, but not quite. I did some spinning over the last few weeks, and I am half finished a spinning project. What are you doing? So I believe in my last episode I showed some spinning fiber to you that I had ordered from the Fiber Goddess, who is Jen, and she's in Calgary, I think. Yes, Calgary. And this is a Polwarth silk, and I ordered 2 of these, and this was part of the Tits Out Collective. And I really wanted to do like a sweater spin, something that I could spin for myself and knit into a garment, because I've never, well, aside from that baby vest, that was my first knitted garment using hand spun yarn. I used to only spin singles. Plying the yarn for me can be tedious and boring. So but I really want to make my own yarn, not just dye my own yarn, but make my own yarn and be able to wear it. So to overcome that boredom, I've been watching podcasts, watching TV, having things going on while I ply, because plying takes the longest. Spinning for me is easy, but plying can get really boring. But I did manage to finish the first braid of this fiber, and it is right here. And it hasn't been finished yet, it hasn't been set, but I wanted to show you what it looked like. I really like it a lot, and it's a hefty 5.5 ounces. It's a 2-ply. I don't know what the finished width or weight of the yarn will be. I'm guessing about a DK to worsted. And so once I get the other one done and finished, then I'll see what yardage I have and what weight of yarn I have, and look for patterns, because I'm thinking of doing sort of a circular yoke style drop shoulder sweater with this yarn as like the top half main color, like the feature color of the sweater, and pairing it with a solid for the bottom of the sleeves and bottom of the sweater. And I might, depending how much yardage I have left, do maybe the cuffs and the hem in this color as well, or something. I'll figure it out. But yeah, so that's another finished object, this yarn. The squish factor is very, very high on this, guys. I wish you could feel it. So, and it's just gonna get squishier once I wash and set it. So, yeah, I'll show you what that looks like when I get it all done. So I'm gonna show you some works in progress now, because I have done some knitting on sweaters over the last little while, and I guess I will show you my Timely cardigan. It's in my Andrea's Handspuns yarn party bag with the crazy birds. And I haven't touched this for a couple weeks, I think. And I just add a couple rows every now and then when I have time. But yeah, I haven't touched this for a little while, but I will show it to you. Let me get organized here. So this is my Timely cardigan. I think when I showed it to you last time, I just had like a little bit of the back and shoulders done. And now I have a pretty good chunk done, separated for the sleeves, and I have part of the body done. And it comes to about here or so right now. And I really love the way the colors knit up. So I'm just gonna show it to you a little bit closer. I'm using 2 colors. It's for a very subtle stripe effect, and I find that it gives the the variegated color a kind of watercolor effect, and I really like that. So I am using Knit Cravings Room for Everyone as the variegated / speckled color, and Blush by Comfy Cozy Knits as the, I guess, kind of like a contrast color, but not really. It's just this perfect pink and this perfect speckle, and they are just perfect together. They also are on the same 80/20 sock base. And let me see, I am knitting the the 5th size in the Timely pattern. 2, 3, 4, 5, which is finished bust size of 35 1/4, which is basically the same size as my bust size. But I think that my tension might be just a touch looser. I'm using the recommended needle sizes, and I don't mind that it's a little bit looser because I don't want a fitted garment. I was looking for something with 0 ease to a tiny bit of positive ease, and when I tried it on, it seemed to be fitting quite well. This pattern, normally they recommend doing a pattern with 0 to negative ease for a fitted sweater, and the cardigan is more so meant to be worn open, although there are buttons and buttonholes. I do like buttoning up my cardigan, so that is one of the reasons why I made my cardigan just a touch bigger, because I would like to close it sometimes. I get cold and I like to be able to close my sweaters or wrap them across my body. And I'm knitting that on my Hiya Sharps interchangeables. And I love these needles. They are nice and slick. I have drop stitches a few times, but I really generally don't like knitting on wood needles because the stitches just don't slide well for me. I may rethink wood needles for a future project that I plan on doing because of how much lace work it has, and I really don't want to be dropping stitches if I'm knitting lace. I would like to share one more work in progress with you because it's getting very close to being finished. I am knitting the Timely cardigan for my dad for Christmas this year, and it is in, or part of it is in another Sew Shannon bag, and I am on the second sleeve. So this is just part of the second sleeve. So this would be the top of the shoulder here, down the arm. You can see this is the arm opening. This ribbing feature is across the elbow, and then it goes into a rib sleeve down to the wrist. So that is how that will look when it's blocked. And the first sleeve is done, the back panel's done, the 2 front panels are done. So as I'm just trying to get this finished, and then I can block all of the pieces and then seam them together, and then I can't remember what the next step is after that. I think there's a collar, and I don't know if there's like a front placket, or it's not a button band because you have to sew in a zipper, which is one of the things that my dad really wanted in a cardigan, was a zip up cardigan. Yeah, so basically just trying to get this done so that I can block and seam the pieces and then get on to the next step, because there is a lot more knitting that I would like to do, and I don't like to have too many projects on the go at once. Although, like the hats and the baby vest, I don't mind picking up a small project here and there to give myself a break from these bigger projects, like my sweater and my dad's sweater. So, some of you know that I attend a weekly knit night called The Yarning, and that's on Tuesday evenings in Sherwood Park at the Common Ground Community Cafe. Sorry, I'm distracted by the cats. They are both sitting in the same part of the cat tree, and it is bath time, and it may turn into wrestling time. If we hear some more noise, that would be why. But this summer on Knit Night, we planned a sort of a contest pool. So every time you attended Knit Night, you would put in a little bit of money in the pot, or in my case, I just put a lump sum at the beginning of the summer so that I wouldn't have to remember to bring, a loonie or a toonie every time I came. And that money was pooled together, and then the ladies who organized the yarning bought prizes. So it increased attendance to Knit Night, and we all had a chance to win yarn or something really cool. And they did a couple of draws during the summer. For anybody who put the money in the pot, were able to put their names in for the draw every week. My name was drawn on the last draw of the summer, and that was really exciting because I don't usually win anything. And I won this skein of Alegria by Manos del Uruguay. And I love the colors in it. This is called Ming. Yeah, it's called Ming. And it is a sock yarn. Superwash merino and nylon. And I'm not sure what it'll be yet. I think it would make some really cool socks. So I'm just going to keep it on the shelf for a little while. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. This summer, while I was spending time at my parents' house near Barrhead, there was one day when I wanted to go into Barrhead and check out a yarn shop that had opened there earlier this year. It's just a very small store. So there's this tiny little yarn store in Barrhead called Click and Sticks Yarn Shop, and it's just it's a small space in a building with other small businesses, and she has a beautiful selection of yarns, even some indie dyed yarns, and her name is Sue, and she carries this brand of indie dyed yarn called Joma, and I decided to buy this color called Adventurous, and it's on a DK base. I loved the pink and the bright blue that's in this skein, and I have a blue DK about the same color, and I thought they would go really nicely together in a project. So this is just going to hang out in my stash for a little while I think about what I want to do with it, but I really like these colors. So if you are near Barrhead traveling and happen to pop into Barrhead, they're just on Main Street. Look up Click and Sticks Yarn Shop. They are on Facebook and Instagram. And tell Sue I said hi. And I will be sending a shipment of my yarn to her store soon, so you can look forward to finding Alison Barnes yarn at Click and Sticks Yarn Shop. Hopefully by the end of September. At the end of August, I sent another wholesale order to my local yarn shop in Edmonton, the Fiber Nook, and they are now carrying a whole bunch of my brand new colors, which I will show you again in just a few minutes. But also, they had their first birthday celebration, and I went and picked up this skein of mohair, Super Kid mohair, and I plan on using it in a future hat project because I wanted to pair it with a fingering weight yarn and make a very fuzzy, squishy winter hat. And I think this doesn't have a color name, it just has a color number. It's 1501. It's kind of a natural grayish color, and I just love the fuzz factor on this, and it's very soft. And I haven't totally decided what color of fingering weight yarn I'm going to pair with it yet, and I am waiting for a pattern to be coming out from another podcaster who I watch, Susan. Susan has the Knit Lib podcast, and I know she's working on some hat patterns right now that use fingering weight yarn paired with Super Kid mohair. So I'm looking forward to trying out her pattern soon. Just this past weekend was a vendor at the Prairie Fiber Festival in Lacombe, Alberta, and I had a wonderful day. My mom came with me for the day to be my booth helper, and we had a great time meeting everybody. And my mom's not a yarnie. She knows how to knit and crochet, but hasn't done it in a long time. So she's not like in the know of all of the goings on in the knitting community or anything like that, but I think she was kind of shocked to see how many people were there, of how popular indie dyed yarn is, and just to see how excited people are to meet dyers and to meet other knitters in the wild. So it was really cool, and she's going to be helping me out in October at the Fiber Shindig in Calgary. While I was at the Prairie Fiber Festival, I did a little bit of shopping for myself, and I wasn't planning to buy any yarn because, of course, I have tons of yarn. I wasn't going to limit myself, however, if I found something that I really liked, and I did. I found this gorgeous yarn from Poppy Yarn and Fiber. It is a super bulky weight, sparkly, superwash merino and silver stellina. It's just a single ply, and it is a hefty 200 gram skein. It's called Neon Macarons, and this wants to become a very chunky cable knit toque for me. And then I know there will be lots left over, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the leftovers yet. But the first step is to knit a toque for myself, and I should probably get on that since it's supposed to snow tonight. It smells so good. It smells sheepy and wonderful, and it's so soft. A really good price for a 200 gram skein too. Just awesome. And it's Denise's birthday today. Happy birthday, Denise. Have a great day. Since I've been into spinning a little more lately, I knew I wanted to buy some fiber at the Prairie Fiber Festival. So before I went down there, I saw that Erin from Lillian Pine had posted these Rolegs. Rolegs are a type of fiber preparation for spinning, and it is carded on either a drum carder or a board, a carding board, like carding cloth, and it is pulled off, so it's kind of like pre-drafted into these curly things. Maybe I'll open one and I'll show you guys. So this is going to be a little bit noisy. When I first started spinning, quite a few years ago now, I was gifted some Rolegs once. So now you can see all the colors in this. And Rolegs are so easy to spin because it's basically been pre-drafted for you. Oh, Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so soft. But you just pull it from the end and it just drafts so easily. Just like that. I'm not going to pull too much because I don't want to spin it just yet. Gosh, oh, Erin, this is so amazing and so soft. I am really looking forward to spinning this. So each of these bundles, I got 2 bundles of these roll eggs. Each bundle is about 50 grams. So I wanted to get 2 so that I would have enough to make something with them. So I'm going to spin these as a single, and then I also bought some hand-pulled roving from Erin, and look at that, look how fluffy it is. And this is just over 4 ounces, so it's about the same amount as what's in the 2 of these packages. So I'm going to spin a single with these roll eggs, and I'll spin another single with this fluffy cloud. Oh, this color is called Pink Party Pants. That is just hilarious. And then I'm going to apply them together. And oh my gosh, I don't know what it'll become. And I don't care. It's going to become yarn first, and then I'll think about what it's going to be. Do these have a name? Rainbow Road. So these are called Rainbow Road, and these are Pink Party Pants. And Erin told me a funny story that when she was making these, she was watching the movie, did she say Dirty Dancing? I think it was Dirty Dancing. So I said, okay, I have to spin them while I watch Dirty Dancing. So I will. Pink Party Pants. Oh, I wish you could feel this, guys. Again, hand-pulled roving means it's basically been pre-drafted for you. You can just sit and spin and just go. It's gonna be amazing. So amazing. During the Prairie Fiber Festival, I was turned and talking to somebody, and then all of a sudden my mom said something like, oh, Allison, somebody just put something there, and I turned around, and on my checkout stand was a little package, a little paper wrap package with string, and off in the distance was a lady that kind of waved at me as she was leaving, and she hadn't left the building, she was just walking around, and I opened it, and this was inside. Check that out. It's from Lady Dragonfly Studio, and it's made by a lady named Marlene, and she's on Instagram, Lady Dragonfly Studio, and she surprised me with this gift. And I had met her in person at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic back in May, and we had a really lovely chat, and she remembered that I like birds, and we have a similar aesthetic. We both like really bright colors, and I just can't get over the wonderful gesture of her giving me this lovely project bag and notions pouch, and just remembering that I like birds. I love it, Marlene. Thank you so much. But she sells these, Lady Dragonfly Studio. That's her beautiful label. And so I think you should go and check out her shop. So I think that is it for knitting and some acquisitions. I'm going to show you my new colors that are, part of them are in the shop, part of them are still waiting to be put in the shop because I'm still unpacking from the Prairie Fiber Festival. And I already showed you the first one. So this gold color, now this line of colors is very special to me. They were dyed during a time that I was really going through some mental health struggles, and I wanted to make some yarn that made me feel better, that would have powerful names that would lift me up and lift you up while you're knitting with them, that the names would mean something to you, or something that you could give to somebody who is struggling, so that when they see the color and read the name, that they know that they're not alone. So this line of 5 colors is new for fall 2018, and it is called Struggle and Strength. And this first color is called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. Each color is a it's a very saturated, tonal, moody color with this little pop of undyed to represent that even if you're feeling sad, hurt, or whatever you're feeling inside, if you're having a bad day, if it's been a bad week, a month, or a year, this brightness, this spot of white, that's your light. It is inside of you. It is still there. It is still shining, even if it's covered up by all of that muck. And it can come out again. And you don't have to do it alone. You can get help. I did. So this is you. This is what's inside of you. And I hope that this brings you comfort and peace. So this first color, the dark gold, is called It's Okay to Not Be Okay. And this is how it knits up, with that white that shows up every so often. The next color is this dark burgundy. It is a brownish burgundy. It's showing up a little more purple on the screen, but it is a brown burgundy. And it is called More People Love You Than You Will Ever Know. And they do. Even if you don't feel like it, they do. They do. I had a hard time remembering that. But I know it now. And this next color is a moody lilac color. It's showing up a little bit brighter purple than it actually is. It's a little more gray. And it is called Asking for Help is Not a Sign of Weakness. And asking for help was the hardest thing I ever had to do. And if you ask for help, know that you're not asking for help because you're weak. You're asking for help because you need help. You can't do it alone. When you can't do it alone, you need help, and you have to ask for help. So, like my husband said, he said, I would never be able to do it. You have to be strong to ask for help. And it was very, very difficult to do that. But I'm so glad that I did. And I'm so glad that I had people that listened. This next color is this green. And it is called Where There Is No Struggle, There Is No Strength. You know the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, it is true. It is true. We can get stronger. We can get help. And the last color is this navy blue. This color was very popular at the Prairie Fiber Festival this weekend. And it is called Self-Care is Not Selfish. So I hope that you are taking time out of your day or out of your week to practice a little bit of self-care. And that means different things for different people. It might mean taking 10 minutes and reading a book alone with the door closed. It might mean showering. It might mean making yourself lunch. It might mean having a bubble bath. And I know bubble baths aren't for everyone. That's not my favorite way to have self-care. It might mean going for a walk. It might mean doing some yoga. So what do you do for your self-care? Leave me a comment below. I'd love to know how you resonate with these colors, with the names, how you're coping. I guess I'm gonna get into the more personal aspects of my life now, if you would care to listen. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time I make a video. Just gonna have some water. So, I'm on medication. It's medication for anxiety and depression. And this past Monday was Worldwide Suicide Prevention Day. And although I never attempted suicide, I did have thoughts. Nothing that, I mean, how do you talk about wanting to commit suicide or thinking about wanting to commit suicide? I don't know, that's really hard, it's really difficult. I knew that anytime I thought about it, and I had thought about it when I was younger, but I knew that I could never follow through. I was too scared to follow through, even though I thought about it. As an adult, I would sometimes think about crashing my car, because to me that was the easiest way. I never premeditated anything or planned anything, because anytime it would come into my mind, I would automatically discount it and know that I could never do it. But sometimes those thoughts come into your head. If you're having a bad day, I know that it's not easy to hear, but I know a lot of people have these thoughts and struggle with that. My medication is helping. I haven't been having those thoughts for the last few weeks, maybe a month. So it's getting better. My anxiety is starting to come down. I've just done another increase on my meds, supervised by my doctor, and I see my doctor again next week to discuss how things are going. And in the last 2 weeks or so, I've had some really good days, where it feels like the stars are aligned and all the lights on the road are green and things just fall into place. Really good days. And I'm still having really good days. The medication makes me a little bit tired sometimes, especially when I'm doing like increasing the dosage. So I've been having naps in the afternoon sometimes. And now that my son is back in school, I haven't been able to sleep in the mornings anymore, which has been difficult. Getting up at 6:30 in the morning is hard. Coffee has been very much needed in the mornings, and trying to get back into dyeing during the day, dyeing yarn, was a struggle, but I did it, and I got it done, and I prepped for Prairie Fiber Festival, and I was was ready and I had a plan, and it was awesome. And I thank you for listening to my stories, and I want you to know that I'm here to listen to your stories too. If you would like to leave a comment or a question, please do. And if you want to hear more from me, please subscribe to my podcast, to my channel, and you'll get notified when I put a new video up. I'm not going to make any promises of having videos once a week or every 2 weeks. It's going to be as I have time, as I have things to show, as I have things to share. But I appreciate you watching today. So I'll see you next time. Bye.